Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Tuesday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Very good. Coming up later in the program, I'm going to talk with her dad with a little thing we do every week called Tuesdays with Charlie.
He's just the greatest.
I wonder if he watched the big game over the weekend. Do you think?
Well, the Bears weren't in it.
I know. So we talked to him about it last week. He said he wasn't watching. I bet he watched a little bit at least. Hey, did you know that the average baby will spend 2.2 hours a day crying? I think our daughter, when she was a kid, spent less time than... She didn't cry a lot. She cried a little bit, but not as much as some babies. 2.2 hours a day. You're looking at me like I'm wrong. You think she cried more than that?
She definitely did her share of crying, yeah.
A little bit.
You just never had to deal with it.
No.
That's all, so it doesn't stick out in your mind.
I was like, see you later. I'm going to go now. You guys stay here and listen to her cry. In Davenport, Iowa, a suspected bomb was found in a house. Turned out to be an ex-tenant that made a device by an astrologer friend that emits vibrations to scare away underground aliens.
Oh, okay, sure.
So that's what it was. And for a moment there, we thought it was something weird.
I didn't know there were underground aliens. I thought all aliens came like in spaceships. So now there's aliens underground
apparently,
too?
yeah. This thing
is so bizarre.
I don't know. All I know is crazy stuff that's happening out there. Coming up, we've got some special things going on today. We'll tell you all about that in a bit. Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Tuesday, February the 7th. Today is African American Coaches Day.
Okay.
Which is cool. It's also Ballet Day. Now, when you were a kid, you were in ballet, right?
Tap, jazz, and ballet.
That's awesome. It's also Dry Bean Day today, not Wet Bean Day. Dry Bean Day. I'm not sure why that is. It's also, this one confuses me, Black HIV/AIDS Awareness Day.
Yeah, I don't know why it's just... What about white?
I have no idea.
White people get it too.
Man Day today. Laura Ingalls Wilder Day today. She actually grew up not too far from where I grew up. Completely different time frame, of course, though. Also, National Periodic Table Day. Wave all of your fingers at your neighbor's day.
As opposed to just the one that you usually use.
Apparently. And this one I left for the end because I don't understand it. It's E Day today. And then behind it says math. What? What does that mean? E
equals
day.
MC squared. Maybe they're only celebrating the E part of that equation.
Maybe
today.
Tomorrow will be MC squared day.
Maybe.
I have no idea. All I know is get out there and celebrate one way or another, and maybe with some dry beans and doing some ballet. Hey, it's John from the John and Heidi Show. Join me and my wife Heidi at 80s in the Sand, a week-long 80s event this November 11th through the 18th in beautiful Punta Cana. That's in the Dominican Republic. You'll get to meet and listen to 80s bands like Loverboy, Starship, Howard Jones, and many more. Plus, meet 80s icons from the movies like Anthony Michael Hall, Andrew McCarthy, and several others. Get all of the details at 80sinthesand.com. Use promo code RADIO to get a $200 immediate refund per person. That's 80sinthesand.com, promo code RADIO. You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. A New Zealand couple's Christian beliefs made them confess a fraud that would have never, ever been uncovered. This is a fascinating story. Laurel Takeri and her husband Gene Douglas recently became born-again Christians, and they wanted to make right on a $22,000 Social Security fraud that the government officials said they would have never, ever known anything about if the couple had not come to them and told them that they had done this. Now the couple will be forced to perform 200 hours of community service, but they feel like a load has been lifted from them. They're like, you know what, I'm fine with the public service. We just wanted to let them know that this happened.
Well, as Christians, they want to give back anyway, so the public service is probably...
There you go.
That's something they would have been doing no matter what. So
I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
That happened in New Zealand. So there you go. And it was $22,000 Social Security fraud. So they have Social Security in New Zealand too. Do they have that in every country?
I don't know.
I know we have it here. They have it there. I don't know. Maybe not every country, but apparently more than just us. I thought that was a U.S. thing. But what do I know? I mean, I don't get out much, people. I've never lived anywhere else. I've traveled a few times, but when you're traveling somewhere, you don't, get involved in their Social Security programs. So.
Not usually.
Usually you don't. And if you do, then you've figured something out that I haven't figured out. And you may end up on a list like these guys. Coming up here in a bit, we've got Tuesdays with Charlie, which is always a lot of fun. Also, later in the program, we're going to be talking about tattoos, and we're going to be talking about alcohol and maybe giving it up. We're going to talk about that here very shortly. But this one now that we just talked about, this New Zealand couple, that they've got the community service, this whole thing, it's true because you heard it on the radio. John
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. If you ever had a reason to give up alcohol for good, this maybe could be the reason, Heidi.
Why did you direct this to me?
I'm just saying. Apparently, this guy wanted some beer pretty badly. He decided he'd just throw a cinder block through a liquor store window and grab some booze and run, right? So he lifted up a heavy cinder block and heaved it over his head at the window. Guess what?
Dropped it on his head.
The cinder block bounced back and hit him on the head, knocking him unconscious. The liquor store has windows made of plexiglass. The whole event, by the way, was caught on tape.
That's something I'd like to see.
I honestly think I've seen this video.
How does that help him give up alcohol?
Because he needs to quit. He got knocked out and arrested. If you get arrested unconscious on the sidewalk because of something, maybe you should say, maybe I should not do that anymore. He should give up crime because he's not good at it, and drinking because he probably has a problem. If he's going to break into a liquor store to get it, yeah, just saying. Coming up, we're going to talk about tattoos in our moment of duh. That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh. I've got nothing against tattoos. I want to make sure I say that right off the bat here. I actually have tattoos.
I am
has some
riddled
tattoos.
with
well,
tattoos.
You're not riddled. You make it sound like you've got them on your face and everything.
No, I don't have them. I don't have them anywhere visible.
Hidden all over the place, kind of like a Where's Waldo, but they're there somewhere. But take a listen to this.
There's some big ones.
Yeah, I know there are.
You just don't see them unless I show you.
I'm married to you. I've seen them all. Multiple times. Anyway, well, we all know the dangers of having somebody's name, a significant other's name, tattooed on your person. Another good rule is maybe opting for body art, is finding a tattoo artist that knows how to spell. If you're going to be doing the body art thing, make sure they know what they're doing. This was a lesson learned the hard way in England. An 18-year-old decided to have the word addictive tattooed on her tummy. Turns out they spelled additive instead.
Additive.
The tattoo parlor refused to give her a refund now.
Oh.
She plans to have that tattoo altered to read additive free. So it was supposed to say she was addictive, and now it says additive.
Wow.
Oh, boy. Coming up, we have your scoop of the day. That is on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. If you need a good laugh, check out Turning Point's SOS Estates and then take the quiz to see which couple you're most like. You and I are going to have to do this.
Okay.
Because it's like a quiz to see which couple you're like. So I'm going to save that. It's on our Facebook page. You folks can do it too. And then we'll have to chime in and let people know who we're most like. So Facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. You'll have to do that with us too, folks. Professor Timothy Holy of Washington University discovered that male mice sing to attract female mice. So using ultrasound technology, he recorded the mice in their high-pitched chirps similar to like bird songs. He said it's not clear whether the singing will help the male mice attract females, but they're planning on utilizing this. So the little mice sing to attract the females. Do you think that there are some mice that are better singers than others, just like in humans?
Oh, I'm sure.
So they could put out like a greatest hits of,
Some of those mice need the little boom box to hold up over their heads.
The ones that can't sing should do that.
Yeah.
It's not a boom box, like a little MP3 player. What was the song that was on that? From
In Your Eyes.
And what was that movie? Say Anything.
Yes, Say Anything.
Yeah. So you just had a little
John
80s
Cusack.
flashback there. Dogs might be better at ignoring bad advice than humans are, according to a new study from Yale, who, again, these people, I wonder, some of these surveys, where do they find the time for this stuff? Oh, maybe I shouldn't say where do they find the time. Where do they find the budget to pay people to do this kind of stuff? 'Cause I'm serious. I need that budget. I've got plenty of studies I'd like to do. Researchers trained dogs to get a treat out of a box by moving a lever and then lifting the lid. Then they left the dog on their own, and a significant number of them soon figured out the truth. There was no need to move the lever. All they really needed to do is lift the lid to get the treat. Contrast that with a similar experiment conducted with humans, kids. And that one, the human subjects went right on pulling that lever because they had never been told they didn't need to. So it says here, the Yale Canine Cognition Center says humans often fall prey to bad advice of others. Children tend to copy what a teacher's actions are, regardless of whether or not they're necessary or not. The dogs, however, were a little more ruthlessly efficient. So they're saying that we were doing a bunch of things that were unnecessary just to get the treat. The dogs were like, I'm going to quit pulling the lever. I'm going to just go get the treat. Mm-hmm. So there you go. Women who wear makeup are not only seen by other women as more likable, but they're also perceived to be more attractive, more competent, and more trustworthy.
I would agree with that.
I wonder if this study was done by somebody who sells makeup.
No, I would agree with that, even just as a woman.
Nancy Eckhoff, a team of Harvard University researchers led by her, determined that makeup significantly alters how women and their character traits are perceived by others, both at first glance and over time. Mm-hmm. The team conducted 2 studies in which 100 photos of 25 women's faces were judged with and without makeup, 3 different applied makeup looks, when viewed for 250 milliseconds. So that's not a very long time. All 3 makeup looks increased ratings of attractiveness, competence, likability, and trust compared to the ratings of the same faces without makeup. In addition, participants in the second study who had the unlimited time to inspect the faces gave both the natural and professional makeup looks increased ratings as well. So likability and trust, boom, boom, went up on both of them. But beware, women who wear too much makeup and look too glamorous are viewed as less trustworthy and having less social warmth.
Yeah.
So saying, you want to look nice, but you don't want to look, too nice, if that makes any sense.
You want the natural look with makeup.
Naturally. And finally, this study just seems like it makes perfect sense. The more vegetables that you eat, the less weight you gain over time, according to Harvard. Really, Harvard? How long are you working on that one? Says there's no healthier diet hack than eating vegetables at every meal. Not a huge fan of veggies? They say there's a painless way. Hide frozen spinach in a smoothie. Not exactly sure how you're going to hide that. Painless ways to do it is to squeeze in, it says, in a powerful blender, toss a package of frozen spinach or kale or whatever, and then a bunch of other things that taste good and mix it up. They say, believe it or not, you won't even taste the spinach. I think fresh spinach is delicious.
I love fresh spinach.
We have that. You make a salad with that and strawberries and some other stuff.
Yummy.
Good stuff. Coming up, we've got Tuesdays with Charlie. That is on the way.
John and Heidi.
Radio advertising works. When it's done right, it works even better. There are many things you can do to get a better response, and shouting sale really isn't the best thing, believe it or not. Did you know that when you put words to music, they're 9 times more memorable? If you're trying to get people to remember your company, consider a jingle. We work with one of the very best jingle companies in the business, and we'd love to use music to help you grow your company. Learn more and hear examples at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com. And it's time right now for my favorite program, something we do every Tuesday just because we can. We pick up the phone and we call my father-in-law for a little thing we like to call
Tuesdays with Charlie.
How you doing, Charlie?
It's Tuesday.
It is indeed.
Yes, I am ready to go.
That was awkward.
Glad to have you here. So,
I've got knowledge like you can't believe today.
So before we move too much further, you didn't lose any money or anything betting on the Super Bowl, did you?
No.
Okay, good. Did you even watch it, or did you even care?
Half of it.
We'll move on then. I know your team wasn't in, so...
We didn't watch it.
The Bears didn't win, so you don't care, right?
Yeah, exactly right.
So what else can we learn about today?
Hey, did you know that every year women lose approximately 1.73 billion bobby pins?
That's a lot of bobby pins.
Does anybody use them anymore?
Oh, yeah.
Somebody in my family does, because I throw
We
them away
use 'em.
quite a bit.
That's how they keep getting lost, because they keep getting thrown in the garbage.
You keep leaving them in my car. What are
What are they doing in your car?
They're in the cup holder. I throw them away. I'm like, I don't need these
Taylor
stupid
does
things.
that.
I don't know why, but...
As long as they're not in the back seat.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, they're very true. Hey, she's only 15.
Hey, did you know that the average single male changes his bed sheets just 4 times a year?
That's not bad, is it?
Seems like a lot to me.
That seems like a lot to me. And we're married.
Well, How many times a year do we change ours?
We change them every time we move. We're like, oh, we're moving. We better wash the sheets.
Don't want the movers to think we're slobs.
There you go. Hey, then you got to love this. The Russian version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire had to scrap the ask the audience that, what do they call it, a save?
Yeah.
You ask the audience for an answer.
Yeah.
Because the audience would intentionally give the wrong answer.
But that's not very nice.
I think it's hilarious.
Like
You ask me, you dumbass.
these people don't seem to like you, so don't go with their answer.
That's right. And then an American exchange student in Germany had to be rescued by firefighters after getting stuck in a vagina sculpture.
No kidding.
Oh, wow.
Must have been a big sculpture.
What an idiot. Apparently not big enough.
Take a photo of me. I want to send it to my mom. Mom, remember this?
Why would they have
I
a
have no
sculpture of
idea.
that anyway?
I have no clue.
Hey, then I got one last thing here for you.
All right, what's that?
There again, we're talking average, and you know that me and you are above average.
Okay.
The average human poops $13 in precious metals per year.
No kidding.
How on earth is that possible?
Whatever you eat, I guess.
Precious metals?
Precious metals?
Yeah.
Gonna have to start pooping through a filter.
Mining the... going
Yeah, there you go. Get a metal
Sifting.
detector or something.
I don't remember eating any precious metals. So the average human... Now, can you say that one more time? Because that just sounds a little unbelievable.
Now, all this stuff I give you is the truth.
All right.
The average human poops $13 in precious metals per year.
$13?
$13. It wouldn't be worth the $13 to
No,
go looking for
I think
it.
I'll just leave it because...
Yeah.
That's... We'll just leave it with that.
Yeah.
I think I'm up to $26.
Well, Charlie, are you ready for your question?
I think I've got the answer.
It's nowhere near as interesting as the things we learned from you, but a question
Well,
for
I
Charlie.
understand that, yes.
So,
But go ahead.
the Snickers chocolate bar, what year was it invented?
I
I like the Snickers, by the way.
I do too.
like Milky Way.
I like Snickers better.
Snickers was invented in 1947.
Oh, wow, you're close. 1930.
I thought I had it.
We can say some of those words on the radio. Okay. Do you like the Snickers, Charlie?
No.
Not anymore.
I like Milky Way.
Yeah. Now, do you ever freeze the Milky Way?
He has no teeth.
No.
If he froze the Milky Way, he wouldn't be able to eat the Milky Way.
Oh, okay.
That's why I eat Milky Way.
You can gum it.
She's not very nice to you, and you're not very nice to her. Can you tell that these people are related?
That's how we say we love each other.
I think it is. I just wish we could say it on the radio. Well, Charlie, we can say this on the radio. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you again next week.
We'll do it next Tuesday.
All right.
Bye, Dad.
Bye, Fluff. Bye, John.
Bye-bye. My father-in-law right there. We talk to him every Tuesday just because we can with a little program we like to call
Tuesdays with Charlie.
John and Heidi.
Are you looking for senior care for your mom or dad, but don't know where to start? No one knows your loved ones better than you do, and no one knows senior living better than A Place for Mom. They've helped thousands of families find the right place for their loved ones. The Senior Living Advisors at A Place for Mom partner with thousands of families every month, listening and offering local knowledge and advice to help find the best senior living communities across the country. Call 1-800-471-5173. That's 1-800-471-5173.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The human heart weighs less than a pound.
Really?
Yeah, so it's not very heavy. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The most disliked vegetable by Americans? Brussels sprouts. I've never tried them.
I've never, ever had one.
I ordered them one time at a restaurant because we were at a restaurant that had them, and I was like, I'm going to try those. And I got them, and I looked at them. I poked them with a fork a little bit. I cut
And
one
then
in
you
half.
pushed
and then
one
I was
aside.
like, yeah, I'm going to just leave those right there. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
In Greece, the climate is so warm that many of the cinemas do not even have a roof.
Oh.
So you get to watch a movie
That
with
would
the
be that'd be like a
stars.
drive-in theater.
Yeah, watch the stars under the stars. And fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The stapler was invented in Spring Valley, Minnesota.
Really?
Kind of cool. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The lighthouse keepers were nicknamed wickies because they had to tend to wicks. Lamps.
Yeah.
They had to keep lighting the
That
wick.
makes sense.
So there you go. If you've ever heard of them referred to as wickies, now you know why. A couple of fun facts for you on a Tuesday.
John and Heidi.
This is Richard Lustig, the world's first and only 7-time lottery game grand prize winner. Since I endorsed Lottolicious, I have won something every single draw. They do all the work. You don't have to worry about running to the store to buy your tickets. They take care of all that. So if you're looking for the best way to play the lottery, to give yourself the best chance of winning, go to RadioLottoPool.com and join today. Again, that website is RadioLottoPool.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Tuesday. Now is the time to plan your spring or summer vacation. It says one thing that you want to plan to do is to get lost in the wilderness.
Okay.
I don't know about that.
No.
I saw a commercial the other day, by the way. Speaking of this, it said spring is here, and it was a Disney commercial. It said spring starts in January at Disney World. I'm like, what? Spring is here. It says spring vacation starting in January. I'm like, wait, spring? It's still winter in January.
Right, but in
Apparently,
Florida, it's
yeah,
beautiful.
Must be. There you go. Anyway, back to the story here about getting lost in the wilderness. It says, should you end up being lost in the wilderness this spring or summer, here's some pieces of advice on how to survive. Stay put as soon as you realize you're lost. Rescuers will be able to find you faster if you stay there. If you have no idea where you are, you don't know if you're getting more lost or more found. So that's the problem with being lost, is you don't know where you are. And you could just be moving in circles and wasting energy. Next, make sure you are as visible as possible. Move to a clearing and do whatever you can to make a signal. Flags or markers can be made from food wrappers, clothing, or anything that's colorful. And if you're in a snowy area, stomp out a large X. If you're in the desert, form an X with rocks. How do you get lost in the woods in the desert? I'm just wondering how that works.
Yeah, there's not very many wooded areas in deserts usually.
No. Next, it says stay dry. Avoid crossing streams unless absolutely necessary. If you get warm, take off excess clothing before you become sweaty. Build a fire and dry your wet clothes when possible. Next, stay hydrated. It's harder for your body to maintain proper temperature if you're low on fluids. This is also very important if you're injured and have lost some blood. What kind of a vacation is this? Make a shelter somewhere. If it's hot, find shade. If it's cold, create warmth. Who typed this thing? Treat any injuries, carry extra food, avoid the most common causes of delayed rescue. That would be forgetting to tell people where you're going. So if you're going somewhere, tell people you're going somewhere. Carry
or
fire
just
starting
don't
equipment.
go in the woods.
And I say my last tip would be,
or you could stay at an Embassy Suites.
yeah, she's not endorsing that, by the way. But I know that she would stay hydrated because
There's a happy hour.
booze and all of that stuff.
Every
so,
night you can stay hydrated.
yeah. Moving right along. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Only 2 in 10 Americans say they're ready for the unthinkable. Are you ready for a natural disaster? What would happen if you were not able to go out to get food for your family during extreme weather? How long would you be okay without power and without access to get more food? Wise Company has the ultimate emergency preparedness pack with enough emergency food kits for a week, or upgrade to be prepared for a month or longer. Call toll-free 888-552-3759. It pays to be prepared. Learn more at radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
Not only are the people in soap operas often depressed, they might not even be making you happy. They're making you depressed as well. So you watch this thinking, oh, I got to see this. I got to watch this. Well, soap operas could be bad for your mental health, according to this story. It says the more times a young woman or teenager spends watching a soap opera on television, the more likely they are to suffer from depression. New studies suggest the shows create unrealistic expectations for watchers who lapse into depressions when those expectations are not fulfilled.
They really do.
Do they really?
They really do. I mean, never once have you rented out an entire restaurant and had champagne and we were in formal attire.
Should we do that?
And that's never happened.
Do you want to
Those
do
are
that?
unrealistic expectations
Do you want to do
are
that?
never going to happen.
I'm just saying, if you want to do that, I'll see what I can make happen. It's not going to be a nice
And
restaurant.
have a
but-
real, there's a famous person that comes in and sings a song just to them.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Who would you
those
like
things,
to come in
those
and sing?
things don't happen.
Anybody in particular?
I would just like Brian Regan to come in and do
Tell
a bit.
some jokes. All right. I'll see what I can line up for our anniversary. which is coming up this week, so probably not going to happen.
I'm not going to hold my breath.
Yeah, please don't. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Susan Madacor from Brooklyn, New York noticed her bank account was growing by leaps and bounds. In fact, money was pouring in from other countries like Italy and France and Belgium, Finland and Turkey. The only problem was it wasn't the money wasn't supposed to be going to her. It was supposed to be going to the United Nations Environment Fund. Somebody messed up on an account number, and $700,000 went into her account. Chase Manhattan Bank recently noticed the error. Now they're trying to get the money back. However, Madcor, who already spent most of it, may get to keep it because, according to her attorney, such errors are correct. If they're not corrected within 90 days, then she gets to keep it. She says that she didn't know that there was anything wrong with this money showing up because listen here, she had entered in an international lottery and she thought that she was winning the international lottery that's coming from all these other countries. She's like, wow, that's awesome. I won $700,000.
I find that very hard to believe. I don't think that's how an international lottery works. They'll just start sending you money.
I know you didn't give us your bank account, but we're going to just start depositing that. Congratulations. Yeah, Susan, let's go with that. Thanks. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Do you shop online? Do you like to save money? Save money with Honey. Let me explain. Honey is a really smart tool that's free to use. I'm not really an online shopper. I get as many things locally as possible, but there are some things you can only buy online. So when I heard about Honey, I thought, what the heck? It's free. I'll give it a shot. The very first time I used it was for a domain name. It's usually $12.99. Honey searched the internet and found me a discount code, so I bought it from the same exact website for just 99 cents. So I saved $12. It's absolutely free, so what do you have to lose? Check it out at SaveMoneyWithHoney.com. This is an interesting story. First of all, I got to say this. I am not a runner. And for those of you who've ever listened to this program, or if you have seen a photo of me on Facebook, I don't look like a runner. I don't sound like a runner. I can barely make it through this story without, gasping for air. My shirt right now is bulging at the seams. I'm afraid this middle button's going to pop over and hit Heidi. So I'm just going to say I'm super duper impressed with this dude. Ron Hill took a break from running for the first time in 19,032 days. The 78-year-old man has been running at least a mile every day since December 20th, 1964.
Why did he take a break?
Well,
Why ruin that streak?
A streak of 52 years and 39 days. He even kept running despite having a plaster cast on a foot for 6 weeks following an operation. The streak even survived a car crash that broke his sternum. He got the day's run in before the crash, and then he started running again the next day. All in all, he's run over 160,000 miles, more than enough to circle the globe 6 times. But during his daily run, on January 28th, he started feeling a pain in his chest, and he thought, I thought I was going to die. He still managed to finish his mile, but he realized it's time to hang up the running shoes for now. For the sake of his family and his friends, in a statement, he said he was ending his streak with great sadness. In addition to his truly impressive streak, he competed in 3 Olympics, was the first British citizen to win the Boston Marathon. He set multiple world records, ran in at least 115 marathons, and started his own running gear company. So this dude is all about running, let me tell you. And he, first time in 52 years that he didn't run at least a mile was back in January. And I'm just saying that because I'm super impressed with that. Now, again, this is coming from a guy, I've never really run. I've never run in a marathon. I've never run in a 5K.
Just goes to show you can circle the globe 3 times and you're still going to have heart problems. I'm just saying, it didn't do a whole lot for him. Doesn't sound like
a completely wrong picture here. Okay. I'm going to chat with her. We'll be back in a bit for some good news. That is on the way. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap things up around here with good news. I think this is just a cool story. Charlotte McCourt sold over 15,000 boxes of Girl Scout cookies and did it by doing something unusual, by being completely honest. The 11-year-old tells customers trefoil's kind of boring, toffee-tastic, flavorless as dirt, but not all of her reviews are negative. She calls Savannah Smiles divine. The New Jersey 6th grader was dismayed that only 2 of the boxes she had sold were marketed to be donated to military troops. So her father suggested maybe you should write a letter to a wealthy family friend who might be willing to donate a bunch. The result? The letter that described each cookie brutally, honestly, worked its way to a friend indeed. The friend sent 25 boxes to the troops, but it was Facebook that helped. A post that was made by Charlotte's cookie sales, a post that made Charlotte's cookie sales hit warp speed was one that Charlotte's dad, who happens to be a writer and a producer for a podcast called The Way I Heard It, he showed the letter to the TV show star Mike Rowe. You know who Mike Rowe is?
I know who Mike Rowe is.
And
I
Mike
like
Rowe posted it on his page and a video of himself reading the letter, asking viewers to please reward Charlotte's honesty because she was talking about some of these cookies. Oh, these aren't very good. These are really good. Anyway, the message definitely got out. More than 15,000 boxes when the story was written. The video has been viewed back then over 8 million times, and it's way more than that now. I've got a link to all of this on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. I think that's just adorable.
That's awesome. We did that one year. We bought a bunch of cookies to go to the troops.
Yeah.
And then 2 months later, I'm like, we've never gotten our cookies. And so I reached out to the lady that we ordered the cookies from, and she said, that's where all those cookies were supposed to go. She couldn't figure out where this giant order of cookies was supposed to go. And she said, we ate them.
That's right. I remember that. I remember another time.
They ate all of those cookies.
I remember another time where we had just moved to a different town and we didn't know any Girl Scouts. And I said on the radio, I was like, I don't know any Girl Scouts, so it'd be great if somebody what a mistake that was. I got so many cookies. Do you remember we got an award from the Girl Scouts that year?
I remember.
Because I said, they're coming all the way here. I'm going to buy at least one box from everybody. Like the first young lady that showed up, I bought 5 boxes. And then there was another one 10 minutes later.
We're good on cookies for this year.
And then there was another one. And another
we'll just
one.
make that disclaimer.
Yeah, I want to make sure we don't need any cookies. We are set. But boy, I remember one year, I think when I was done with that, I was afraid I was going to have diabetes. I had a lot of cookies.
Yeah.
But we donated several of those to the troops too. If you would like to know more about this story, once again, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Tuesday.